Hey guys, welcome back. It's I'm Skyland Shore, and let's talk about Otherland. I just had my first impressions here, and actually, a little bit ago, months, maybe even a year ago, I actually did a first impression on Otherland for free MMO Station, and it was interesting. Okay, I thought, yeah, this is like super early. Obviously, this game's not coming out for like years. But the thing is that it's actually been in development for years and years and years, and actually that's why a lot of hype has died. I'm gonna try to keep the hype alive. Just kidding. I actually think this game completely sucks, and I think everyone should just ignore it. That's right. I'm gonna be pretty negative with this review, and it really sucks, man. I've been doing a lot of negative reviews. I don't like that. But Otherland was actually a game that I was really excited for because at the time I was an aspiring author myself, and this game is actually based off of some books. So what creator of books, of manga, whatever, would like to see their creation come to life in another medium? Maybe anybody. You know, if you're a developer, you want to see books of your game, you want to see movies of your game, fan fiction, I don't know. Maybe for whatever medium, whatever artistry that you have, whatever thing you create, I think it's always like this sort of fantasy to see it come to life into another medium. And so Otherland, right, as an author myself, as somebody who likes reading and everything like that, I think it's so freaking cool to see that a book turn into a video game, because normally we see them into like movies, and then they don't really work as movies. Much better as TV shows, I'll admit. But anyways, this game was actually based off of a series of books, and the basic concept is that in the near future to now, a little postmodern, we are going to have the technology to basically fully immerse in virtual reality, and of course there's all sorts of shenanigans that can happen with that, as we've seen in popular culture right now. We already know very much. But, so, yeah, that's the game. The game is basically an MMO simulation. Like, it's an MMO based on being inside an MMO, and that's Otherland. It's an heavily instanced game, but, however, each of these different instances have very unique aesthetics, right? One could be like a feudal Japanese sort of looking, the other could be very steampunky, and overall, like, you're gonna kind of see this in between the instances, sort of like a blending of like this sort of Tron aesthetic, and then you also have like these like medieval kind of thrown in there, and then maybe like it'll be feudal Japan thrown in there. Like, you have lots of weird kind of aesthetics thrown in there, and then you also have your instances sort of based on those aesthetics. Overall, it just seems like it could be gorgeous, and of course it's running in the Unreal Engine, so it's gonna have lots of colors, lots of really bright effects, and I really do enjoy that. But right there, we are going to stop all the gushing on this game, and we're going to be talking about how shit it is. Okay, so yeah, it's been in development for a long time. The hype has died. All the community forums, basically, like all the different forums, the subreddits, the official forums, basically the whole internet really doesn't care about this game anymore. Even the diehard fans, they'll probably just come to the forums, and they might post one thing or two things, but you're not going to have the sort of community talking that you would want to see in a new game. There's like zero hype for this game now. It's taken so long. In fact, the original developers of this game have left, and now we got Drago. Okay, Drago Entertainment is coming and stepping in and trying to fill in the shoes here and trying to push the game, and honestly, I'm not seeing much production here. I'm not seeing much production value. It just seems like they're very much relying on the Unreal Engine sort of base assets, like what the Unreal Engine basically is. You know, all the lighting effects and everything. We're not seeing any sort of innovation here. Like, for instance, Overwatch. Overwatch looks like a wholly unique game. Everything about that game oozes originality and honestly polish, and from a technical standpoint, it's pretty impressive. Now we come to this game, not so much. Now, I know World of Warcraft looked pretty shitty back in the day, but what they did was really freaking astounding for, you know, the time. Otherland is not that game. We're not seeing anything impressive. It's got this kind of unique aesthetic, right? But literally anybody could make that aesthetic. From that technical standpoint, though, the game isn't really impressive, which I was kind of hoping for. Otherland kind of needed that. One thing that we're going to see is basically everything just seems like there's a bunch of cracks in the game, and it's so obvious, and they barely are trying to paint over the cracks now. They're not really innovative. They're not really building upon the structure that is the MMO. Guild Wars 2, a wholly unique art style, but that's not the only thing. Like, literally every part of the game is like entwined with that whole artistic design, right? From the single player, the campaign, the way quests work, everything is just sort of painted. The abilities, how like the AoE, the skill shot, the blade trails, everything about the game, mechanic-wise to aesthetics, all blends together and works together, and that's just really good game design. This game, Otherland, basically what it is it's a very usual MMO, okay? It's like the basic ideas of any MMO just kind of thrown into this game with that really cool, awesome aesthetic, right? The idea of Otherlands. But that's a gimmick, and it's not working. It's not working at all, okay? For one, the combat, maybe at first glance, you're seeing it, and it looks all action-packed, it looks very colorful. That's really just the Unreal Engine. We're not seeing anything special here. A lot of the abilities ground you, which normally wouldn't be so bad, but the game doesn't have any tactics. It's no Age of Wushu. There's no rock, paper, scissors. There's no strategy or tactics in the gameplay. Not too much, if there is any. And, like, you really don't do much. Like, you're not going to be jumping around like in WildStar or Guild Wars 2. You don't have, like, weapon switch. Okay, you do have weapon switching, but it doesn't really do too much. It doesn't really feel that impactful. It's definitely not like you get 5 whole new abilities, and then you can use these in totally different and wildly varying ways depending on your build. You don't have that. It like just changes like your 2 attacks. It changes your auto attack and it changes your power attack. It just doesn't make that much difference, and that's pretty much going to be for everything. Okay, everything about this game, it's like there might be one small unique idea, kind of, sort of, and then it's not really implemented enough. It's not expanded upon enough. So this game, basically, it just feels like a standard MMO. It really does, paint it over with. So you have normal, very usual questing. There's no voice acting. Well, there might be voice acting at the very beginning. I can't really remember, but basically everything is just chat. Everything is just text, boring, and not only that, but the quests that you do are incredibly usual. Now, I know that they're basically all comes down to fetch quests, kill quests, boss quests, you know, things like that. But now modern games kind of are like doing new things with it, like how Guild Wars 2 with the open world questing. Not only is it open world, but some of them are like progression or series based, where you do a quest and then it has a chain effect and you do other quests, and then even then sometimes whenever you kill something it will drop a random item. Or like Arcade, even Arcade. I know people hate bringing up Arcade, but Arcade even has the unique feature where you can complete a quest early. So like if you don't want to sit there and do this boring quest, just complete it early. Who cares? Like boom. This game though, very usual questing. Super, I'm just done. I'm done talking about it. It's questing that nobody enjoys, nobody likes, and that's just how it is. I mean, even Terra, okay, even Terra, which has very usual questing, right? Everyone knows this. But because of the number of enemies that you're fighting, and because of the raw combat mechanics, it can actually be a little bit fun. Honestly, it could be a little bit fun grinding sometimes if the game has the raw mechanics and the engine to work around it. And what's really sad is that this is the Unreal Engine. An MMO made in the Unreal Engine should be freaking spectacular. It really should. We can see have you seen Firefall? Look at that engine. That engine runs amazing. The game, you know, some of the gameplay mechanics are a little bit questionable, but overall, like, it's a raw, visceral, explosive game. This game, it totally should be that. It should be a very mobile, very explosive game, and really, it's just an image. It's a facade. It's fake. It really doesn't have that. You don't have that feeling, and that really sucks. It really is sad. That's all I can say pretty much about the whole game. So questing, usual, combat. It's got this really cool UI. There's a couple of different abilities that seem like they could be really fun, and the effects sometimes can be like big and colorful. But overall, not really feeling it. The classes don't seem too unique. The abilities don't seem too unique. And the starter experience, and even Kotaku was like, yeah, the first 5 minutes of this game sucks, man. Kotaku, people who get paid to do reviews, man, they're like, nah, dude, I don't even want to keep playing this game. I don't even want to review the full thing. And that's what sucks. Like, the first impression, when I did it for Free MMO Station like a year ago, it's basically the same game. It has not been improved. And that's really, you know, the only thing that's really changed is that they went from free-to-play to a buy-to-play. And they might go back to free-to-play, but all I'm saying is that this developer that stepped in to try to fill out this game, I'm not really feeling it. And I don't mean to point fingers, but I just have not seen myself. I have not seen enough development. Okay, I haven't. I've made assumptions about a lot of games that have been early access, and I've played, like, guys, this is what I do. I play a lot of these games that are in early access, and how they grow, you know, there's like a trend. If there's a lot of progression early on, then you know the developers are generally good. This game, I'm not really seeing a lot of progression in the areas, like, there might be tons and tons of new content, but where I think the game needs improvement, and it seems like that's quite evident, right? Because the community's not very excited. Okay, is the very first impressions. And this is, you know, probably for a lot of games, but the very first impressions of this game, which it shouldn't be, as a theme park roller coaster game, the first impressions should be freaking awesome, right? But this game, it's so linear, so basic, so usual, that your design aesthetic is only going to pull in and drag in so many people, but you're not going to really cast the net that you need to for an MMO. You're not hitting that wide target audience. It's just very usual. And even if this is somebody's very first MMO, it's still going to get pretty boring. It just is, because there's not enough base customization at the beginning of the game. There just isn't. There's only 4 classes that you can choose from, and from then, like, just aesthetically, like, your design choices, you can only choose, like some shapes of some colors and the color of your skin, sort of. Like, you have nowhere near the starter customization that we have in WildStar, Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft. These games that... these are games that you should look towards and try to emulate to an extent, right? Just like the fact that there's really good start customization. So that there is at least some choice in gameplay or how you look. This is super important, especially like right in a game, in an MMO, where you're playing with tons of people, you want to look different. That's like basically the whole point of playing MMOs. It's a fashion contest. And the fact that there's essentially no customization at the very beginning of the game is detrimental. Not only that, but everything about the first impressions of this game is essentially very amateur game design. Absolutely. Now, MMOs are hard to make, but the first impression for an MMO is the biggest. That's why there's so many YouTube channels that just focus on first impressions for MMOs and multiplayer games. As evidence, Attack Gaming. So, this game, it could have been amazing, but right now all hope is lost. That's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna jump on that. Normally I'll be like, I don't know, it could improve. No, I'm just gonna say it. I played it a year ago. It has not really improved, at least where I think it needs to improve, and that's that. So, a couple of features that are interesting that I guess I played. You know, I don't want to just end on a bad note. You do have a player housing. It's sort of like your own separate instance. I imagine maybe you can pull other people into it, but it's nowhere near like WildStar, or it's nowhere near like RuneScapes, right? Or Albion Online. It's not going to be player housing like that. It's just sort of like the side thing that you can do, and you just, cute little player housing. But that's pretty much the only unique feature that I was able to get to in my hour of gameplay. Normally, these kind of channels, we just play for like 15, 20, 30 minutes. We do the raw first impressions. But since I already did that for Free MMO Station, I wanted to go a little bit further. But really, all I saw was just lacklusterness. I was able to get into the hub city. I was able to see my own home, my player housing. So I guess that was kind of interesting. I don't know what the potential is for this game. Maybe there's tons of stuff to do endgame. Maybe they don't care about first impressions. However, I really feel like they should. Especially, this is the big thing though, okay? It is big, but I left it for last because it can change. This is the one thing that actually probably will change. But there is performance issues. There is. So if you don't have a enthusiast build gaming machine, you're not going to have fun with this game. You're just not going to be playing at 60 FPS. Even me, as you can see from the gameplay at the top left, it's barely getting over 60 FPS. And there was even a time where it dropped down to 15 FPS, and I have a really strong machine. So yeah, but that is actually one thing that'll change. So just left it for last. Yeah, but right now I can say definitely not worth buying into, but maybe later on, if it goes free to play, like in 2 years, when there's enough content and more, maybe a stable population, then maybe it's worthy of getting into. But right now, I'm going to say all hope is lost, and I'm just not feeling the game. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Skyline Show with Attack Gaming, trying to keep it real, trying to keep it casual. I don't mean to be so harsh, but sometimes I feel like games deserve it. Please like and subscribe so you can stay notified of all these upcoming indie multiplayer games, and we'll let you know if they are good to go or if they need to go. Be excited for the next video, and we'll be excited to see you there. Welcome back, Attack. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 free-to-play MMOs for this year, for 2015, and I think across all the genres for free-to-plays, we've seen so much innovation in MOBAs, in MMOs, in, like, card games. We've seen so many new things this past year, and hopefully, maybe, probably so, 2015 is going to be just as exciting. This is our